Hi, everyone. It's Rita Denoyer Garcia of Becoming Awake and the Calm Mom Alliance. And I'm doing my second interview of the Women Helping Women series with a good friend of mine who I love so much, Catherine Glastal. So I'm going to give her a quick introduction and then I'm going to let her say a few things. So Catherine Glastal stumbled onto Reiki in 2010 during her family's twisted journey with autism, developmental disorders, gut issues, unrelenting anxiety, and alternative healing. And despite having grown up overseas, including Japan, where Reiki was first discovered, and being exposed to different cultural practices, it wasn't until Catherine experienced the positive immediate effects of her first Reiki treatment that she believed in energy healing work. So Catherine is a practicing Reiki Master-Teacher, certified to teach in Usui Shiki Ryoho Reiki. I'm glad I got that right.
Good job.
The original Reiki and White Light Reiki. She's also a certified Karuna Reiki Level II practitioner. And she loves Reiki and wants everyone to know, to feel its beautiful effects, whether in a session or in a class. So, Catherine, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Rita.
So, can you tell me a little about, I read a little about it in your description, but a little more about your story about how you got into doing Reiki?
Sure. I had been on a path of holistic health for about probably 8 years by the time Reiki came into my life. So I knew that there were outside of the box practitioners and ways of looking at health. So in December of 2010, somebody had suggested to me that I take my son for a Reiki session. And when I found the practitioner, she was local and she was working out of her basement. And I thought, let me just go to her myself first before I subject my son to this.
Makes sense.
And so it was just the most incredible experience. I remember lying on the table and I could feel my stomach going crazy. And she was literally pulling stuff out of my stomach. I could see her hand go up and out. And she said, wow, you have a lot of anger in there. And I'm like, really? Okay. And then afterwards, not to overshare, but it was like a detox reaction. And I just couldn't believe it. I just could not believe that it was that simple. And I did. I felt better afterwards. And I did send my son after that session. And I did go 2 more times that December. And I remember the third time I went, she said, you're supposed to be part of my class in January. I have 3 other women who are learning and you need to be my 4th. And literally I thought, okay, I'll learn this because why should I spend all my money with you when I can learn this and help my son by myself? So I really didn't go into it with the intention of becoming a Reiki master or being a healer. It was really like, okay, let me see if I can save some money. But that first class in January was mind-blowing. And it just completely opened me up to this new kind of thinking, this new world. It completely changed my life. So I continued on with learning and development. And to this day, I still feel like I'm learning. I just continue to add everything I can into the practice. So
Wow.
it's been a shift. It's been a lifelong
Yeah.
change. Yeah.
And that's such a powerful story of you were searching for it for your child.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you were like, whoa, this is amazing for me. And
Exactly.
maybe I could help other people too, which is,
Exactly.
I love your story. So we've talked about Reiki and you're talking about some of the benefits, but we never really defined what Reiki is for people who don't know. Could you describe that more?
And it's so funny because I actually have a hard time describing Reiki, even though I'm a teacher. So Reiki stands for the terms that there's 2 characters that go with it. Rei is higher intelligence and Qi is energy. So you may be familiar with it in terms of Tai Chi or Qi Gong, those kinds of things. So lots of cultures believe that we have a life force that flows through us, an energy, And that energy is just as important as our physical body. And the two are intricately connected and they affect each other both positively and negatively. And I think in Western culture, or at least the way that I grew up, we don't really have a belief in the energy body. And so we don't take care of it.
Mm.
And I wish that I had had Reiki, especially when I first had my kids, because I didn't understand why I felt so depleted and just exhausted and actually angry by some of the things that were happening in their lives. I mean, the autism diagnosis for sure. I can just look at it from such a different perspective now, knowing the energy body and knowing that kind of thinking. So, if you're just starting out in this world, one of the examples I give, which is kind of morbid, but people can relate, is when you go to a wake or a funeral and you see the person lying in the casket, it's them. You see their body and it's them. But then there's something missing. And it's that piece that we're talking about. It's the life force energy that isn't there anymore. And so that's what we're working on. And in my work and what I believe is that we have to keep that energy balanced. We try to eat right, we go to the gym as much as we can. We know what we need to do for our physical body, but we have to take care of the energy body. It's just as important, if not more important. And so that's the message that I would love to get to other people and other moms, especially.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so true because I've gone to you, I've been on your table, and I have an amazing diet and
Yes.
I do practices.
Yes.
And I flip and teach a lot of the things that
Yes.
I'm talking about. And yet I still needed to have that energy balanced with your help. And I could feel it. I could feel like,
Yes.
I could feel
Exactly.
like the tingling. For me, it's like tingling.
Yes.
I don't know. Is
Yes.
that what it's like for a lot of
Yeah. A
people?
lot of people describe tingling or warmth.
Warmth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the other thing I wanted to say is I have a lot of people come in who are like, oh, I can't calm down. I can't meditate. I have ADHD. There's no way I can't calm.
Yeah.
And then there's something magical that happens and they're able to finally relax and they can feel it in their body. Their whole system is just, ooh.
Yeah. Well, and I
So
feel like you have an atmosphere in your office too. You have the music going and you're very
thank you.
calming and it's just a nice atmosphere. Definitely
Well, I
relaxed.
had a friend come, sorry to interrupt.
No.
I had a friend come yesterday and um, it occurred to me that I'm mothering the mothers because where else can you go and lie down and have somebody cover you up and just gently lay their hands on you and just be like, I'm not talking during the session. You're just laying there and I'm channeling energy into your body. And I'm not sure where else you can do that, and I think again back to the time when I first had my kids and people are like, oh, you should really take care of yourself. And then you go and you get a manicure or a haircut. And it's like, I don't know. That didn't do it for me.
Right.
Felt good in the moment,
Right.
but who's mothering the mothers, I guess, in this
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I wanted to ask you also is, do you find that your ideal clients are generally mothers, or are there lots of different people, or who do you
I
work
would
with?
say probably 95% of them are moms and
Yeah.
women. Yeah.
Who are
Yeah.
really hungry for that nurturing and just to have that space to release whatever they need to release or
Right. And I think especially the past 2 years, um, it, they're at the end of their rope. Like, where do you turn to? They've been caretaking, they've been working, they've been managing without support. Um, they've been trying to control everything, and this is just an uncontrollable situation. And so it's almost like they're stepping into my office as a last resort because where else can you go for help? They're not sure where to go. And so it is a special place and especially for moms to just be able to not have to worry about anything in that space. I think that's really important right now.
Yeah.
I'm actually very worried about the moms
Mm,
these past 2 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of stress
Yes.
on top of the regular stress.
Right. It's just unfathomable and uncontrollable.
Right. Right.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you control the controllables, right? Which is how you take care of yourself.
Right. Right. And I find in my practice, I'm sure you do too, Rita, the moms are the center of the home. And I know that sounds very old fashioned, but
No,
they're the
no.
ones, they have the mental load of trying to handle everything that's going on in the house.
Yeah.
And so I feel so strongly that they need to take care of themselves, and it's not selfish. It's actually mandatory.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. It's mandatory. You got to do it, sister. Yeah. Cause one of the, it's like that if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. I
Yeah,
mean, it
exactly.
really influences the
Exactly.
whole household and the community. And then you have
Exactly.
maybe all these moms that are stressed out, and then it's affecting everybody.
Exactly. Exactly. And we talk about energy, right? So if your energy is stressed, you are literally putting that out there to your kids and your family and other people. And I'm not saying that to be mean or judgmental, but when we're conscious of our energy and where it's going, we just make
Yeah.
different decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long is a typical session with you?
So I tend to talk before and after. We talk a lot afterwards. So typically the Reiki itself is probably 50 to 60 minutes, and then there's chatting before and after. So I'm going to say an hour and 15, hour and a half, but yeah, that should be a typical session. With some people, I end up
Nice.
talking more.
That's nice. That sounds really good. That sounds
Yeah,
really good to me.
yeah,
To give yourself that time.
yes,
And it's mandatory.
it's mandatory.
Okay. Can you, besides your own story, would you be able to kind of describe maybe how a couple of your clients have changed or shifted with working with you? What have you seen that's been kind of really cool or that you want to talk about?
Sure. I don't want to give away any confidences.
No, no, no. You could talk in
Yeah.
the term.
Well, I had a woman the other day who came in. Well, let me just back up. I'll just explain generally about in general. People come to me and they're like, "Oh, I have a block in my heart chakra, or I know that my sacral chakra is, not working." And I find it so interesting because this is what I want to explain to people: is Reiki goes where it's needed most for the highest good. And so even if somebody comes to me and says, my knee is killing me or my heart chakra is blocked or whatever it may be, I'm like, okay, that's great. But the Reiki is going to go where it's needed. So for instance, the person with the knee pain actually had massive grief in their heart that needed to be released from,
Mm,
the death of their father, let's say. Or I had somebody come to me with throat chakra, let's say that throat chakra is blocked, which is in a lot of women, by the way, because they don't feel like they can speak. And it really had to do with solar plexus work, which is in our belly where our soul resides. Like once you are able to be confident in your self and in what you believe, then you're better able to express it.
mm,
So that in general, that seems to be a lot of women who are kind of holding back, um, not really expressing themselves. And, you know, I don't generally like to talk about blocks because I think it's all about balance. All of these things in our body, chakras, meridians, whatever you want to call it, they need to work in balance with each other. Yeah, so I was just thinking, I had a client the other day who came in and she said she had a block towards weight loss. I'm like, okay, so I start working on her. And as I'm working on her, in my mind, her stomach is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I found it so interesting because I was actually working on her forehead at the time, which is the seat of our third eye, our intuition. I'm like, why is her stomach getting bigger? And it was because it wanted to be seen. Her gut instinct wanted to be seen.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, okay. And I feel like that's a message for a lot of women. Our gut instinct, we have to learn to trust ourselves and believe in ourselves. And I think a lot of us kind of tamper that down. Um, and so that was such a huge message, that particular one. Um, and I've had people who come to me during divorce, and it's really interesting to see how things kind of fall into place. Because once they get that chaotic energy balanced, again, they're better able to make decisions from a place that's grounded rather than chaotic.
Yeah.
So I think divorce was a big one too that I've seen in some of the moms. And then the other one that I see in a lot of women is, in my work, the left side is really feminine energy and the right side is male energy. And I'm not talking about gender. It's more just an expression that we use,
Hmm.
where male energy is more ego dominated. It's more about control and kind of giving out. And then female energy is more about receiving and being and compassion. And so we need a balance of both of those in our world, no matter what gender you are. And in women, when I'm working on them, that male energy right side is so dominant. They're really off balance and they're trying so hard to control everything in their lives.
Yeah.
And I have to, I sit there for a while until I feel like it's evened out. But really, truly, the message is we have to be in receiving mode. We have to be open to the love and compassion that
Yeah.
people send our way, but also for ourselves, so that we can actually be in our body.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just find that a lot of women are trying, and I'm sorry to be general here, but I find a lot of women are trying to be what society wants them to be and what they've been conditioned to be. And there's so much more to them.
Yeah.
And I just wish, like, whenever anybody lies on my table, I can see they're just so beautiful. It's really like angels
Oh,
when
wow.
I look at them. And I just want that to be in the world, not just this one-sidedness.
Yeah.
So,
I know. I totally agree. I was just talking today in my Facebook group about being open and receptive and letting things
yes,
unfold,
yes,
especially in challenging times when we want to control and restrict
yes,
and defend
yes,
um and I only know that because I do it too. We all
yes. Oh,
do
I'm
it.
so guilty.
Yeah.
Right. I'm so
So,
guilty.
yeah, so I love that. And I also love that you're not trying to figure everything out, with your head.
Well, and
It goes
that,
where it needs to go.
yes, and you know me, Rita. That's one of my that's one of my core beliefs, is that I have to fix everything. But in Reiki or any energy work, you have to let go, and you
Yeah.
really have to let the Reiki goes where it's needed most for the highest good. So if somebody comes to me and they have cancer or anything, I'm not allowed to say that I'm going to heal you. And I have people say to me, "Oh, I have cancer. How many times do you think I should come in?" I said, I'm not a doctor. This is not take 6 pills and come see me in 3 months. It doesn't
Right.
work that way. It really isn't up to me to heal you in that way. It's up to you and your higher self to figure out what your journey is. But I can offer relief
Mm.
and balancing as much as possible, no
Yeah, and
matter
it
what.
sounds like with a lot of people who do healing work, it's an opportunity for someone to embody that healing energy and know what that feels like.
Yes, yes.
Um, so they know when they're out of balance and then they come back into
Well,
balance.
exactly, Rita. And that's what I say to people. I said, you'll know when to come back. Sure. Do I want you to come every week? Oh, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
I would love to go every day if I could.
Right. Right.
But right, it's up to them to intuit when the right time is. Yeah.
Okay. So obviously it would be great for stressed out professional moms, which are
Yes.
that I work with. And I know this also because some of my clients have come from your
Yes.
referrals, which I am so
Yes.
appreciative of.
Well, I
Um,
think it's, I think we go hand in hand because I learned so much from you, Rita, in terms of release work. And Reiki is just a different form of release work.
mhm.
And it's just, again, it's amazing to me how they can work together. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so many, I mean, that's why I'm doing this series, because I think there are so many resources out there for stressed out moms.
Right.
Reiki is a huge one. And
Yeah.
then there are other ones, and I want people to have access and knowledge about so many of them.
Right.
So before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you if you could share something simple and easy that moms at home or wherever they are could do
Right.
that would help them.
Yes.
You can do it together right now if you.
Yeah. So if we just rub our hands together and kind of warm them up a little bit, and actually, if you do this exercise another time, you can kind of feel energy between your fingers if you do that. But and let's just lay it on our hearts. Take a deep breath in. And you could just acknowledge, if you're in a tough spot, in a stressed out space as a mom, just acknowledge those feelings that are flowing through you right now. Like, this is hard. This is hard. And I'm doing my best. And I am worthy of giving myself this time and this energy and this love. And you can even imagine white light coming down into the top of your head and flowing down into every cell of your body, through your head, your shoulders, your heart, down your belly, down your legs, through your feet, and into the earth right now, all the way down deep into the core of Mother Earth. And even just imagining this white light flowing through you makes it so. And just breathe in all that love and healing and give it to yourself right now. You are enough and you are worthy.
Can I do this every day with you,
I know.
Catherine? That felt really nice. So I hope everyone's doing that at home. So how can people connect with you if they want to do a session or they want to talk more about what Reiki is and what it can do for
Sure.
them?
My email is best right now because my website's under construction, although there is information on my website. My website is createandblossom.com, and my email is createandblossom@gmail.com. And
Okay.
the and is spelled out, A-N-D.
And we're going to put that in the
Right.
description so that that you can have access to it right away.
Right. And I just want to explain too, I know this sounds kind of woo-woo, but Reiki can be sent via distance, so you don't need to come into the office. We can set it up where I send it and you're lying at home, and then I just follow up with an email.
Awesome. Very convenient in this
Yes.
virtual world that we're in.
Exactly.
But I highly recommend going to Catherine's office if you can. That's
Thank
in
you,
New
Rita.
Jersey. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Catherine, thank you so much for spending this time with me and sharing what you do and what you share with the world. And
Thank you, Rita. I
it's
really
been a
appreciate it.
pleasure.
Good.
So everybody, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Like it and subscribe. I'm not going to say smash the subscribe button but all right, we're on YouTube, so we can do that. Have a great time. And I look forward to meeting all of you again for another interview of Women Helping Women. Take care. Bye.
Bye.